ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit, and this is kind of an apology video, really, for the fact that I cannot bring you AzDaily Daily today. I have not had the time. I have had no time to myself today at all. An explanation is when I woke up, I went straight into editing some StarCraft 2 content, got that up, and in the meantime was speaking for a good couple of hours to Arrowhead about all of the streaming we're going to be doing over the weekend for Magicka and arranging some of the travel stuff for Sweden. I then after that went immediately into casting a tournament, and yeah, I just am not at the time. Those of you who have been paying attention probably know that AzDaily Daily takes about 4 hours or so to put together. Sometimes I can do it a little bit quicker, but particularly things like the Court of Law, which was supposed to be today's feature, they take quite a while because there's a lot of research involved in that, and all of that is written and scripted and paraphrased and researched and cited and things like that, so it takes a long time. Whatever the case, I thought I'd at least bring you something. I know it's really not enough, but I'd do it anyway, just so that I could actually give you a roundup of today's news, as well as some of the mailbox stuff as well. I'll also have to say that there won't be an AzDaily Daily tomorrow. There probably won't be any videos of any kind tomorrow, because I'm too busy prepping to head to Sweden at about 5 o'clock in the morning. It's going to take me 12 hours to get to where I need to go, which is pretty ridiculous, but that's just the way that travel's working right now, so it kind of sucks. Whatever the case, anyway, less about that, and I'll try and at least give you a little bit of a roundup of the news today. So, there is a couple of posts over on EU and US Battle.net, which are a list of features for quests, and they tell you exactly the new features which have been put into Cataclysm to help spice up the questing a bit, and I'm also soliciting feedback on it. So, those links are in the description below this video. Go feel free to check them out if you so desire. Now, there is also a bunch of data mined screenshots, and these are from MMO Champion. Bear in mind, of course, these are probably not complete, and they are all subject to change. Coming in patch 4.2, the Firelands raid, and yesterday I did show you some screenshots from the Firelands daily zone. These are from the actual raid. Go check them out. Once again, those are in the description below this video. And just a reminder that the latest round of EU community news has been released with a roundup of this week's comics, as well as notable forum threads and various foreign language site updates. Once again, that is also in the description below this video. Now, I want to miss out all of the rest of the stuff because, like I said, I just don't have the time. It sucks. I really want to have the time. I really do. I want to be able to get this out for you. But today has been an absolute freaking nightmare in terms of actual workload. So I'm going to go on and I'll do the mailbox, and then I'll sign off for this evening. So this one comes in from Nistrik, who says, I've been playing WoW pretty much since day one, and with only a short break during BC. Coming back to Wrath to play and raid with my druid, we had a battle res that was unique to us that made us an important part of the raiding group, even though our DPS wasn't as great as some other classes. Even now in Cataclysm, druids are important for their battle res. However, as with other classes like Shaman, our utility and uniqueness is going to be stripped away from us. They intend to allow Death Knights and now Warlocks to be able to battle res, and that would be fine if it wasn't for the fact that so many raiding guilds are concerned with the maximum DPS a class is capable of. I understand this was what Blizzard was trying to do, making all classes viable for raid spots, despite the unique things that can be brought to the group, but I feel they're going about it in entirely the wrong way. In my opinion, why would we bring a Shaman or a Druid to the raid when we can find another class who can battle res and do more DPS than them? Many guilds have stopped bringing classes because their DPS is just not on par with others. I was wondering how you feel about that. As a mage, you must hate your new 85 spell, that being Heroism. Yeah, you're right, I did. This is getting worse and worse, and it's something that I railed against for a long time during Wrath, and a lot of people dismissed my opinion, but I think as things have gone along and we've seen just what it's doing to the game, and the fact that things are becoming more and more homogenized, that people are starting to see exactly why it's a bad thing. As I've said before on the Blue Police podcast, and it probably bears repeating because I haven't said it all that much on this show, what happens when you have a situation where two classes can do the same thing? Well, what happens is that in any guild that is really concerned about efficiency and DPS and stuff like that, and they have a choice between those two classes, they will take the one that does the most damage or heals the most efficiently. That's not good. That's really bad, in fact. That is the kind of situation that you're supposedly trying to avoid. The whole bring the player, not the class thing was designed to avoid people getting marginalized, and actually it's having the exact opposite effect. Because this is a min-max game and Blizzard is incapable of balancing it so that every class does pretty much the same damage. And if I'm honest, that's not really their fault. I think it's an almost impossible task. So, yeah, it is a bad situation, and I don't think that they should continue along with this. They should be diversifying the classes, and they didn't really do it with Cataclysm. I think that's actually one of the weaknesses in Cataclysm. The new abilities weren't all that great. I mean, how does Flame Orb differentiate me as, say, a mage to another class? I mean, it's just a little thing that floats around doing damage. It's not even that reliable. Why do I care? I mean, Ring of Frost is kind of neat, but they keep nerfing that so goddamn much, and it doesn't seem to work in half of the goddamn raid fights anymore. Then what's the point in even having it? And I know they nerfed it in PvP, so... oh god, Jesus. It worries me an awful lot, and I think that class diversity is dying a very slow and painful death, and it is hurting the game. I would like to see that class diversity brought back in some way. I really, really would. Okay, this one comes in from Queru, who says, I write to you for your opinion on an argument I had with the friend the other day about patch 4.1 and the delay of the Firelands. My friend insists the Firelands should have been released in patch 4.1 along with Zul'Aman and Zul'Gurub revamps, and he feels cheated for only getting dungeons. While I can understand that he's eager to see new content, I disagree with him. I told him, for example, between 3.2 and 3.3 there were 4 months. Would it have bothered you if they'd released Forge of Souls, Pit of Salmon, and Halls of Reflection 2 months after 3.2 as 3.3, and Ice Crown 2 months later? The point I was trying to make that if Blizzard wanted to release Firelands in 4.1, we would have to wait about the same amount of time as waiting for the current 4.2. Is my reasoning flawed? Am I wrong, or am I missing something? Well, your reasoning is not necessarily flawed. The problem is that we don't know exactly what state the Firelands is in. Could they have released it at the same time as patch 4.1? We don't know that. We have no idea. We have to take Blizzard's word on this. Right? We're seeing an awful lot of data mined content that demonstrates that all of the level design and the texture work and things like that seems to be pretty much done. I mean, it looks amazing, with the exception of most of the indoor segments that look like molten core, but the outdoor stuff looks fantastic. I don't know whether or not it's actually in the kind of state that we want it to be right now, and whether or not we really do have to wait for that long. We are supposed to accept their reasoning. What I would have liked to see is not rehashed content. I mean, I would have been okay if 4.1 was just Raid Dungeon and some changes, because, to be fair, that's really all that, if I recall correctly, 3.1 was. It was a Raid Dungeon and some changes, and people were alright with that. They don't have a problem with that kind of thing. Who the hell asked for Zul'Gurub and Zul'Aman back? I would like to know this. I don't remember anybody asking for Zul'Gurub and Zul'Aman back. Then again, there were probably some people, but they were a vocal minority. Should that vocal minority have been listened to the fact where it changed the very nature of the patch content for this expansion? I would certainly hope not. That sounds like a really dumb thing to do, and I can't imagine that Blizzard would have done something like that. That sounds absolutely absurd. But it is a possibility that your reasoning is entirely accurate. It may very well be that it would have taken the same amount of time, but there is no proof of that. What I'm concerned about really is the fact that 4.1 is quite slow. I mean, it's coming out either at the same time or after a longer period of time than patch 2.1 did. And patch 2.1 had 2 full raid dungeons in it, as well as 3 daily quest zones and a couple of other really awesome things. Had like the entirety of the Nether Drake faction line, stuff like that. You know, that was a hardcore patch. So, to me, 4.1 seems to be lame in comparison to that, and indeed 3.1. And also, they're not giving us what we actually were promised in patch 4.1. Think about what we were promised. We were promised Firelands, the Abyssal Maw, which was a brand new 5-man dungeon. Yeah? We were not promised rehashed dungeons, we were promised a brand new 5-man dungeon. Only 1, not 2, but we were promised a brand new 5-man dungeon. It was called the Abyssal Maw. We were also promised a remade, fully healed Hyjal for those of you who had finished the zone with a brand new set of daily questing hubs. This is not in it either. That is not in the patch notes. So, again, that's something they promised. That was major content that they've been hyping for a while. That's not coming anymore. I don't know about you, but do you find that a little bit disturbing and distressing? Because I kind of do. That's the real problem that I've got with it. I don't like the fact they've delayed the raid content, but you may very well be right. The thing is, once again, we just don't have proof of it. Okay, folks, I know that was not an adequate replacement for Azeroth Daily. I am well aware of that. I simply do not have 4 hours to put this together right now. It's almost midnight now already. So I'm very sorry about that. Tomorrow, I will be packing for Sweden. I will also be recording the 2 Magicka videos with the Yogscast so that we can get them up on Friday and Saturday. So there will be content going up over the weekend. And I've also got a bunch of other things that I need to get done and sorted out very quickly, very rapidly before I get off to Sweden. And also, I need to try and get some sleep because I need to get up at 5 in the morning in order to get the flight. Kind of blows, kind of sucks. Looking forward to it nonetheless, and like I said, I feel like I've really let you guys down this week. I am not happy with the way that the content's come out this week at all. I don't think there's been enough of it. I don't think it's been of the quality that it should have been, and I feel incredibly guilty for that. So please accept my sincerest apologies, and hopefully next week will be significantly better. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you next time.